Welcome to Co-Design and Your Positionality. Hopefully by now you've gone through the basics of design thinking, the stages that we go through, and you've realized that it's a very collaborative process. And it's because of this that we need to understand where we fit in the design process. And this is where we talk about positionality. Today we'll be looking at perception as a lens. We'll be discussing positionality and its importance in design thinking. We'll take time to reflect on your positionality and hopefully get you thinking about your identity as a design thinker. By the end of this session, you should understand the concept of positionality, understand its importance in the design thinking and co-design process, be able to reflect on your own positionality, and begin to consider how you might develop your identity as a design thinker. We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. Each one of us is unique. We are a composite of all the things that have happened to us and the broader influences that have surrounded us. So things like our cultural background, socioeconomic status, where we live in the world, our family, the people that we've developed relationships with, education, all of these things have come together to shape the way that we think, the way that we feel, and how we navigate the world. So our perception is highly subjective. It's really important for us to understand that everybody views the world through their own unique lens. If we can understand that other people see things maybe a little differently, we can better understand and value the diverse perspectives and experiences of people we are designing for and with. A really important thing to note is that as we grow and as we experience new things, our perspective can actually change and evolve. So this is something for us to remind ourselves with when we are developing our identity as a design thinker. What is positionality? So positionality refers to understanding how one's social and personal identity, such as gender, ability, race, class, cultural background, affects their perspective, interactions, and role in society. So it recognizes that these identities, this combination of identities, actually shape how individuals experience and interpret the world, as well as how they are perceived by others. So understanding your positionality is really important in design thinking because it means that it helps you foster empathy, means that design is more likely to be inclusive, and you'll be living up to that ethical responsibility, ensuring that the designs that you come up with, whatever they may be, are actually grounded in the real world experiences of the users that you are serving. Understanding positionality and design thinking is important for a number of reasons. Firstly, acknowledging bias. We need to understand our own background to identify biases that we might hold. We might have been aware of them, we may not have been aware of them, but we need to understand how they could influence our approach to design. Secondly, empathy for users. It recognizes that our experiences are going to be different from other people's experiences, which means that we need to foster a deep empathy and understanding of user needs. Power and inclusion. So having awareness of our power dynamics is going to be really important in how it could potentially play out in the design process, particularly when we're working with people from marginalized groups. Intersectionality. Considering how our identities intersect leads to more equitable and effective solutions for diverse users. Ethical design. Reflecting on your own positionality hopefully will promote co-creating solutions that actually respect diverse perspectives and needs, so it will be more ethical. Time to reflect on your positionality. I want you to consider, who am I? Who are we? Who are us? Who are we designing for and with? Write your own positionality statement, considering your identity and who you are in the project or the topic that you are looking at. While you're completing the activity, I want you to consider the following questions just to help you better understand where you are positioned in the broader system. So as you can see in the image, we've got the question, who am I, centered in the middle, and we've got all these circles around it that represent different parts of your identity, and they may relate to ethnicity, age, gender, sexuality, ability, disability, education. Have a look. I want you to have a think about each one of those circles. This will help you create a little map of your identity and all the different aspects of it. This will help you identify the strengths that you might have in empathizing with others when it comes to similarities, as well as potential blind spots where you may have a limited understanding of other people's experiences. A good question to ask is, do you consider yourself a designer? A designer is someone who creates solutions by combining creativity, critical thinking, and technical skills to address problems or fulfill needs. Developing an identity as a design thinker might be a really strange thought for some of you. And it's going to take a combination of self-reflection, skill development, and experience. We are going to learn by doing. This is going to require a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that abilities, intelligence, and talents can actually be developed over time through hard work, dedication, repetition. If we can embrace a growth mindset, then we can develop our identities as design thinkers because we are continually evolving our skills and perspectives. So the next activity is going to take stock of how confident you are currently with different design capabilities. So this activity was taken from Design Innovation and Integration, which is a great resource. It looks at how confident you are with each of the capabilities on the hexagon, with a rating from 1 to 5, where 1 is weak to 5 is strong. And you mark each corner of the hexagon, and then we draw a line between them just to sort of create our own little map of where we feel strong and where we're not so confident. So if we go around the hexagon, we have rule breaker. How confident are you in reframing problems and sort of maybe thinking outside the box? Research rigor. How confident are you in your investigation skills, critiquing, interpreting data? Design intuition. How confident are you in visualizing and translating ideas? Agile facilitation. How confident are you in your own design practice and facilitating this practice with other people? Customer-centered. So how confident are you empathizing with customers and collecting customers' insight? And finally, business acumen. How confident are you in leading an organizational change process and transformation? I have completed this activity for you as an example. So this is my genuine reflection. As you can see, I've marked the areas of research rigor, design intuition, facilitation, customer-centered. They all seem to be areas where I feel relatively confident. However, when it comes to breaking the rules or business acumen, not so much. I'm feeling a little less confident over there. So I have marked those areas for improvement, something for me to build my confidence on. The wonderful thing about being a design thinker is that every problem is going to be unique. So you don't always have to have the answers. It's just a tool for problem solving. So if you can embody the spirit of design thinking with these principles, then you're pretty much on your way. Firstly, curiosity. Be interested and stay open to new ideas. Empathy. Aim to deeply understand users and their needs. Comfort with uncertainty. We need to be fairly comfortable, or at least willing, to sit with ambiguity and explore what could be. Collaboration. We need to appreciate the knowledge and skills of the team and the people that we are designing with and for. Growth mindset. Embrace challenges and learning from failure. Failure is feedback. We tried something, it didn't quite work. Why didn't it work? And an iterative mindset. So we improve on ideas over time via this learning and feedback. Essentially, by acknowledging our positionality, we become more conscious of the lenses through which we interpret design challenges, allowing us to develop a more authentic and informed identity as a design thinker. And particularly in co-design practices, this empathy is essential. It means that we are able to collaborate more meaningfully, listen deeply, and create solutions that are inclusive and truly reflective of the communities that we aim to serve. We'll be going into far more detail about co-design, but this is just a snapshot of how positionality can help us engage with the people that we are designing with and for. We might share their experience, we might co-design personas, we might get them involved in co-analysis and development of the services or materials. It might be about outreach and education, and these are just a few examples of how that has been done. Here we have just a few examples of how the Queensland Clinical Senate has co-designed personas with consumers. And you can see how they represent diversity. Here are just some additional resources if you're interested in learning a little bit more about positionality and the role that it plays in design thinking. The online articles that we've included have probably focused more on working with diverse users and those from marginalised groups or those who may be vulnerable to exclusion. Highly recommend. Here at the end, you should hopefully have an understanding of positionality and its importance in design thinking and co-design. You've been able to reflect on your own positionality, and you've begun to think of yourself as a design thinker. We've included a reflection activity along with a summary of all the things that we've gone through today. Reflecting is actually a very important process for helping us to internalize all the new things that we've learned and identify areas that we might like to improve on. So have a go at completing the activity. It'll ask you about the process of considering your positionality, and particularly now that we hope that you consider yourself as a design thinker. Thank you very much for joining us today to talk about co-designing your positionality.